Hi everyone, I'm Sue Harries and I'm a board member of the AICI Australia chapter. And AICI is the international organisation for image consultants globally, where we are here to educate and inform people, not only image consultants, but the general public about some really newsworthy items regarding the fashion industry. I recently attended a global conference where there were many speakers helping us to understand a whole range of things in this new world as we're all progressing through COVID times. And two Australian image consultants gave a fantastic presentation on can sustainability and online shopping coexist. And those ladies are Vodicka and Emma McDermott. And I would like to introduce you today to them. Anne is from Image Confidence and is a past president of the AICI Australia chapter. And Emma is from My Personal Stylist and is also a former board member of AICI Australia. So thank you, ladies, for joining us today. You've got a wealth of knowledge and experience on all topics around sustainability. And it's such a massive issue and there's a lot of conversations going on at the moment. So what would be really great, and I'll pass over to you, is to tell us a bit about it. And if you could perhaps, help us all to understand really what is sustainable fashion at the moment.
Well, thanks so much. That was a lovely introduction, Sue. We think that perhaps the best thing to do is to start with a definition of sustainability, because that then leads on to the sub topic of sustainable fashion. So sustainability is the way that we can be on the planet so that we look after our own needs now, the needs of the water and the land and the people, so that we look at it after it in a way that in the long term we're also creating a planet and a world that is good for those in the future so that they can have a wonderful life as well. So I'm going to hand you over to Emma because she's going to then now explain about sustainable fashion.
Thanks, Anne.
Thanks, Anne, and thanks for having us, Sue. It's great to be able to talk about this topic because I think it's a really important one for us as image professionals to get our head around, and also for the general public and our clients to start to understand and be able to take educated, informed action on making a difference. So sustainable fashion really encompasses a whole lot of things. It encompasses the choices you make, the clothes that you buy, are the fabrics sustainable? Are the workforces that have made those clothing, every step in the process, are they ethically treated? Is there a social conscience to the clothing that you're buying? Also, what happens, what is that brand or that company, and what are their values? Are they tapping into the sustainable values and the goals that Anne outlined, making a smaller footprint on the planet? So where can we, as consumers and as consultants, spend our money and make the best decisions that are going to reflect that and enable that? And it's about just what choices you make. So we're going to come to the sorts of things that you can do about sustainable fashion and tapping into that, the actions you can take.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's just, it's being aware. I think a lot of us, we're just not even aware what we're doing and how we could do it better. And I know when you did your presentation at the global conference, I was alarmed at some of the statistics that you had shared at the time, and I just had no idea myself. And so can you share some of those with us today?
Oh, yeah, look, there were plenty. We had
there were.
But even just on the topic of water, that 20% of the global water pollution comes from the manufacture of textiles. So, I mean, that blew us away. And also things like everyone's got at least a T-shirt or a pair of jeans in their wardrobe, and things, knowing that to make one cotton T-shirt takes was 700 gallons, or just over 2,600 litres of water to make just one T-shirt. And a pair of jeans was 10,000 litres of water. So it makes you stop and think like, oh yeah, I've already got three T-shirts or 6 T-shirts or how many there are. Do I actually need another one? Being thoughtful about how much you actually consume and thinking then how that affects the planet. So, and I'm sure Emma's got a few as well.
Well, I think also it's thinking about, yes, so that's the production side of it, and we can make much better choices around how much we buy, what we buy, where we buy it, you know, knowing all of the things that go into making a garment. But the other side of it also is, well, what happens when it gets into your wardrobe? So the fact is that in Australia alone, we generate tons of landfill that is fashion, that is disposed. It is a frightening, thing to think that the things that we buy are sitting in the wardrobe for sometimes days, sometimes weeks, often a few months, one season or so, and then ending up in landfill. So what happens to that? If it's not natural fibres, that takes years and years and years to break down. And this is not just an Australian issue. This is an issue all around the globe. Each individual is generating tons of waste that just sits there. So I think we also have a role to play in being more responsible as consumers.
Yes, absolutely. And then there's another term that's been, in the media of late, called the circular fashion movement. And I think, that's a really important consideration as well, is, okay, if you don't want it, what to do with it. So can you talk some more about what the circular fashion movement is?
Well, it's an interesting concept because it's looking at the lifespan or the life cycle of any garment or any item that's to do with fashion, and it's how we become more thoughtful and more considered about every step of the way, from the time it's designed to the fabric manufacturing to the way, actually right back to where the raw materials and how they're grown, how the item is transported, when we buy it, what we do with it, how then if we don't want it anymore, what we do with it, and then getting to the point of, if we're thinking, oh, I might chuck this out and it goes into landfill, even thinking beyond that, can certain items be upcycled, recycled? I know that, and these aren't even garments, but we've found that there were like handbags that are being made out of recycled plastic water bottles. So that, how can we extend the life of these items so that we're making great use of them, and we're being very considered about what we buy and how we use them.
And Emma, can you perhaps give some suggestions of, we're talking repurposing and recycling there, and thanks for highlighting that that's also a way to move the clothes in this circular way. Emma, can you make some suggestions about recycling and repurposing?
Absolutely. Well, I think there's, to make it easy for people, because when you start talking about sustainable fashion, people get excited. We all go, yes, that's a great idea, and we all should be doing that. And there's we found a lot of research from the conference paper that we were putting together that showed that people are very interested in sustainable fashion, and that's across all age groups. But what happens is that next step. So next comes the realization of, great concept. What do I do? How do I do this? Where do I go? Where do I start making a difference? Or you've got that issue of, well, I'm just one person. How can one person possibly make a difference? Well, and I think, again, we have to be more responsible as consumers, and we can take easy little steps to make a difference. And I'm going to defer to an icon of fashion for 3 things that can really make a difference and that can start you off on this journey of having a lower impact, which is Vivienne Westwood said, buy less, wear more, make it last. Pretty easy.
Yes.
So that means, be considered about, as Anne said, do you really need another T-shirt if you've already got 20 in your wardrobe? Do you really, really need that?
Mm.
And if you decide that you really, really, really do need that, well, then buy something that is going to last. Don't buy something that is going to either fall apart on the first wash or that is just going to look shabby after a few wears. So buy the best quality that you can afford and make it an investment piece and bring it into your wardrobe with the view that you are going to pair this with a number of different things and that you're going to get that longevity out of it. Also, makes sense financially, right? Reduces the cost per wear. That's
yes.
got to be a good thing.
Yes, absolutely.
And make it last. So look after it. Wash your clothes less. Denim, for example. So I have deliberately worn this jacket today. I bought this on my 10th wedding anniversary in New Zealand, and we're coming up to 30 years next year.
Wow,
so,
that's
and this
incredible.
is still fabulous. It doesn't get washed a lot. You don't need to wash your clothes over and over again. Also an argument for buying more natural fibres because they don't retain the smell. This piece, while it isn't a natural fibre, this is a secondhand or a pre-loved garment. So I'm helping this go around the circular fashion cycle, and that'll stay in my wardrobe. And these, for example, small little local producer. And again, while they're made out of plastics, they're made out of recycled plastics, they're made in Australia, so the fashion mileage is low because it's not coming to me from overseas. So you can make lots of little choices and still look stylish.
Yeah, no, that's great. And again, buying secondhand is something that I think people are much more, open to now because there's so many outlets to buy secondhand or even rent if you had a special occasion to go to. But I think many stores, even my daughters are, online buying secondhand items through this lockdown here in Melbourne, and quite happy to invest their money there. So there are many, many ways, and it's great that you've been able to highlight that. And have you got anything to add?
Yes, just one thing that might be interesting if anybody wants to sort of explore different ways to recycle, upcycle, and what they can do with their clothing to make them last longer. Have a look at Dr. Anna Brismar's green strategy. And in that strategy, there are 7 different ways that you can change the impact you have on the way, what happens to your clothes and how you can make that small footprint. And also there's a great website called goodonyou.eco, and it is an amazing resource of, well, first of all, it just lists all of the different brands out there and how they're making a difference or aren't they making a difference, and has great articles that easy to read and really informative and a really good place to start.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you, Anne, so much for mentioning those because, that's a really easy step for people, to go and have a look, and in their own time they can work out some better ways of doing things. And I think that's the message we're trying to get out there at the moment. And I really appreciate your time, Emma and Anne, to come on today to go over a little bit of that fantastic presentation that you did. And I'm going to be doing a few more of these interviews as well. It might be that we come back to you another time as well. But I've got a few interviews, to happen going forward about this fantastic topic. Is there anything you wanted to end with, Emma?
Oh, I just wanted to say it's such a broad topic. There's so many different angles that you could take and ways that you could look at this. So I think it's really good that the AICI is, you know, really making an active focus on sustainability. And that's not just for image consultants, that's for clients, for consumers, for everyone.
Yeah, and I'm very proud to be part of the organisation who have made some enormous steps in a sustainability committee across the world. We've got many image consultants across the world who are actually putting a lot of time into how we can all help make change. So it's fantastic that we could have a chat today about it here in Australia and help to get that message out there. So thank you, ladies, very much for your time. And for anyone listening to this, it's, if you can, just take a note of those items to look at, and we'll make those available across our socials and websites as well, so that you'll be able to easily access those. So that's great. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Sue.
Okay, pleasure. Bye for now.